Okay, welcome back, everyone. I can see that most people have returned. Our next speaker today is one of our own IH teachers, Alberto Fornasier. Alberto is an English and an Italian teacher, and he's a teacher trainer. Today, he will be talking to us about how to make homework work for our preteens and teens. Let's see if you can give me any pointers for my own teen, Alberto. Okay, welcome. I'm going to turn it over to you and stop my video and mute myself.
Great, thank you. So let me share the screen first. So welcome everybody. And here we are. All right, so hello everyone and welcome to my workshop. The topic is how to assign more engaging homework for our preteens and teens. Usually the word homework provokes different reactions in different people. Usually students have a bad reaction while teachers have a good one. Thank you. Yeah. As there are different points of view to take into consideration, oh, sorry, I forgot one, the teachers. And as there are different points of view to take into consideration, I'd like you to think about them for a while. Let's start with the pros. I'd like you to think about the pros of giving homework, and if it's possible to share your ideas in the chat. Exactly, yes. This time, so maybe this was more calm. Yep, exactly. Okay, topics, the grammar, structures. Very good, yeah. So I'm going to share some of my ideas that I just mentioned. So first of all, homework can help reinforce learning because usually students retain only 50% of what is taught in class. And so homework can help them learn by providing them with an extra stimulus. Yeah, teachers can get an idea if students understood the topic well. We're going back to that in a moment. Then can improve also student achievement. So we can help students develop skills such as autonomy, discipline, time management, and also independent problem solving, which are key at school and in their daily life as well. Thirdly, as someone has mentioned, it's a good way to check our students' learning, but it is also good for parents, so they can see how their children are doing at school, and they can also be aware of their strengths and weaknesses. All right, so now let's have a look at the cons. Again, if you could share your ideas in the chat. Someone mentioned it could be time consuming, it could be stress, exactly. Yeah, very good. You're mentioning all my points, so there's no need for me to be here. Yeah, exactly, yeah. So homework, too much homework could be harmful, both physically and also psychologically. And not only because of the long hours sometimes students spend on doing homework, as we can see on the cover of the Time magazine. but also because of how it is considered by the teachers themselves. Let's now have a look at one of the main sources for adults to understand kids' psychology, which is Calvin and Hobbes, and see what Calvin's attitude towards homework is. So as you can see, the way homework is usually seen fuels negative feelings about learning because it is focused on the results, right answers, and not on the process of learning. Furthermore, it limits leisure time for children. Going back to cons, as some of you has mentioned, there also seems not to be a clear link between the amount of homework and achievement gains in elementary school. A study carried out in 2006 found that there is a weak correlation between homework and performance for children in comparison to older students. But despite that, it also found out that there is evidence of a general positive correlation between homework and student achievement. It means that students who did homework performed better at school. This made Cooper claim that a small amount of homework is useful for all students. On the other hand, another professor argued with these conclusions, saying that correlation is not causation. This means that it is possible there is a link between doing more homework and better results, but are we sure that the latter, better results, are caused by the former, doing more homework, or as she puts it, does homework cause achievement or do achievers do more homework? What she suggests is that the focus should be on the quantity of homework, a lot of homework versus a small amount, but on the quality of the tasks. So considering that quantity isn't related to quality, what is good homework? What is good homework for you? Please take some time and think about it and share your ideas in the chat again. Great, Tamara, yeah. Very relevant, very good. Great, very good points. Again, you have mentioned all my points, especially force and so on. Yeah. So let's have a look again to the state. Great. What I found quality homework should be, yeah, exactly. Yes, so should be engaging and relevant. This means that there should be a connection with their lives. Quality homework also provides options. Students can choose and personalize the task, and there needs to be a purpose. Later we will see more about it. Finally, teachers must value homework because otherwise homework completion rates can drop significantly. Valuing homework doesn't mean simply giving a grade. On the other hand, it doesn't need to be something complex. Valuing a task could be, for example, focusing on your attention on good answers in controlled exercises In less controlled tasks, we can evaluate by focusing on the unique ways students answer, or maybe sharing their work with the whole class. Before we move on to some examples of quality homework, I'd like to highlight how the idea of quality homework doesn't only apply to reinforce what students have learned in the last lesson, but also to the broader curriculum. One of the best ways to reinforce what students have learned during the year is called spaced repetition. Instead of concentrating the study of information in single blocks, as many homework assignments currently do, today we do the present simple, next week we do the present continuous. We can make our students encounter the same material in following lessons and homework over a longer period of time. With this approach, students are exposed to information again and again throughout the year. In this way, every time we pull up a memory, we make it stronger and more lasting. Let's now have a look at some examples of homework, which I found my teens enjoy. The first ones focus on vocabulary. So here are some examples. A very simple one. Students can label items in their bedroom, in their house, or in their classroom, but they can also organize these lists according to some categories. So for example, which ones are yellow, red, soft, they can sit in or on, or they don't like, for example. They can also make a list of words they want to know in English. This is very motivating. If, for example, if you know next week you are going to cover topic of holidays, for example, you can ask them to think about 10, 20 words, Italian words they want to know in English. And so this can be engaging and motivating. They can be ready for next week. Other two examples of how an easy task could be meaningful and memorable are the following. The first one, they have to write down words from food labels or packaging. And the other one have to write down prices for certain food. A third one is where students describe their surroundings. In this way, they can practice prepositions of place. Now let's think about how we can explore this vocabulary list to make them more memorable. For the first ones, where they have to label items, make a list according to some parameters or words they want to know in English. For example, we can ask them to share this list with their classmates. In this way, they also have a chance to get to know each other. Right, so now let's have a look at the other three. How would you explode this list in class? Would you please share your ideas in the chat, please? Let's start with the first one, where they have to write words from the label, from the labels. Yeah. Nice. Coronavirus. The pictures, yeah. Very good. Yeah, what I usually do, I put them in pairs and they have to guess the food of the label. So one student read some words from the food labels and the other one had to guess the food. Yeah, now, Camille, yeah, now we're going to prices. Very good, yes. When they have the right prices for a certain food. On a budget, right? Very good. So I do collage. Yeah. And for this one, I just ask them to compare supermarket and see which one, for example, is cheaper. They can say that veggies in this supermarket are cheaper than in the other one, and sweets are more expensive, for example. I can compare exactly something. And then let's see the last one, where they have to the outside to describe what they can see outside their bedroom. Yep. Mhm. Yeah. So actually, yeah, my activity is the same as the one Camilla says, so they can do according to what their classmate has written. This could be a reading activity, so they can exchange their texts and read it and then draw, or could be a listening. So one can read out loud, and the other one has to draw while listening. Great, yeah, we're going back to the social media in a minute. All right, so the next topic is functional language that we can practice. So functional language is something really easy to use. Here are some examples. It's 3 centimeters long. It takes me 20 minutes to. He's 1.7 meter tall. He's got short dark hair. Or have you ever? All right, so now let's see what kind of homework you could assign to practice this functional language. Let's start with the first one. Could you please share your ideas in the chat? How to practice, it's centimeters long. Yep. Actually, just would be 5, 10, or also meters, and doesn't need to be 3 and centimeters. Yeah. Exactly. Then this was I thought, just have to measure objects at home. Exactly. Yeah. Let's go to the second one. It takes me 20 minutes to. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah, same. So they can count how much it takes to do certain things. For example, to go to school, to have breakfast, could be anything. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Then, so let's move to the other one. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly, John. Yeah. Make a compare. Good point. Yeah. All right, let's move to the third one. The description, so great. Yeah. Celebrities, yeah. Yeah, it's much better than mine. I just add them to describe the memorable family or friend, but celebrities or classmates are even better, of course, yes. Mm-hmm. All right, and then let's move to the last one. Have you ever? Mm-hmm. Oh, secure activities. Okay, yeah, all right. Survey, yeah. Great, yeah. So random question for their classmates. So they're going to ask these questions to their classmates. As always with young learners, the funner you make the exercises, the better. So for example, in the last task, you can explicitly ask your student to write strange questions. All right. So for example, a question like, have you ever been to, I don't know, Florence? Could be a bit maybe boring, really interesting for some of them, but have you ever eaten 2 pizzas? Or have you ever skipped school? Maybe this could be a bit funnier. Yes, exactly. At any rate, yeah. Finally, we will see some examples of a bit less structured and controlled exercises in which students can use specific vocabulary, functional language, or grammar structures based on what they like. Here are some examples. We have famous people, TV series, pictures, or interests. Of course, these are just some examples. You can pick up whatever you want or they want. How would you use these topics to assign meaningful homework? Let's start with famous people. Again, you can use this to revise anything. So vocabulary, functional language, or grammar structures. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. So fire, photos, interview, you compare people, very good. Yeah, what I usually do is I ask them to think of 5 famous people and write 3 sentences to describe them. And then in class, they have to guess these people. And this is very good also to know what their interests are. Because, for example, last time I had a group of teens, and there were 2 girls and 2 boys, and they had, of course, completely different ideas of what or who famous people were. All right, let's see TV series. What kind of homework would you assign based on this topic? All right, yeah. Please, could you allow comments to be visible by all panelists? Because maybe you're writing your comment only to me, so other people can see all the comments. So you should click to all panelists and attendees. Great, exactly that. Thank you. I didn't notice. Yeah. Yeah. I'm just copying things that were sent just to me. Yeah, very good. Yeah, so for example, you can ask them to watch a series or an episode and write the synopsis or description of character. As many of you have said, have been not very creative, and they can compare TV series or characters. Very simple. All right, let's move to pictures. Could be any picture. This was from Matilde. This was from Marina. Great, yeah. This one from Tiziana. Yeah, great, Joanna, yeah. This one from Joanna. Yeah, so for example, they can take a picture, they can use a photo of theirs, or they can even exchange pictures. And then they can write a description of this picture or a story. And then you can even ask them to include some mistakes. For example, if it's a story, it could be mistakes about the use of the past simple, for example. And yeah. And then the last one, interests. Yeah. True or false, but personal things. Yeah. Presentation. Yeah. It was what I thought. Yeah. Came from Matilda. Yeah, so basically, as someone mentioned before, to make and then give a 5-minute presentation about something they are passionate about. This could be really something interesting, create a video, yeah, great, compared to class, very good, yeah. Much more interesting than mine. Anyhow, this could be from 1 week, sorry, to another, or over a longer period of time. Could be also an end of course task, for example. Anyhow, the bottom line is that your students are the key. It is them who choose what to write about, and this should give them the feeling of ownership. And this will make it also more memorable. Furthermore, if you run out of ideas, I found that you can just ask your students. Sometimes, not always, they come up with really brilliant ideas. So these were just a few ideas to make homework activities more relevant and helpful for your students. Obviously, it is impossible to change everything overnight, but if you have found some of these ideas interesting, you might be able to start thinking of them and try using them now and then and see how it goes. All right, so I finished. It's time for Q&A. So if you have any questions, please, you can use the Q&A option. Something exactly is the QA function to ask questions. They ask me if it is possible to get the conference coordinator. I don't really know, actually.
Yes.
Yes, it is written. Yeah, sorry. Oh,
Yeah.
Great. So if you don't have any questions.
Here's one that's just come in from Alessandra.
Right. Okay.
If you have any suggestions for finding inspiration or engaging homework activities, resources, or teachers' websites.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. I've seen these examples from random websites, or I've created them myself. So no, I don't have any specific resources. I'm sorry. Yeah, the teacher's book. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely, yes.
A nice comment from someone here saying that the presentation has made him or her rethink homework.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. If there aren't any more questions, I think we'll turn it over to Sarah. Thank you, Alberto.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.